Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond, broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Back at you in Gloves Off. I'm Paul Buitron. I'm here with a dear friend of mine. I call him brother because we've gone through a lot of stuff within the martial arts. Guro Tim. Guro, how are we doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. How's everything in Waco?
Hot.
Yeah, just like Laredo, but you're not getting the 114, 115, are you?
Like yesterday it was 105, but they say, the heat index, it feels like it's 115. So
here's 114, heat index 119, 120. It's bad.
Yeah, it's like the surface of the sun. It's crazy.
It's crazy. And then it's like 10 o'clock at night, and it's still 100 outside. You're like, really? You know, the sun's not going down till 9.
Yeah, it's just hot. Even in the shade, it's hot. It's not fun. But that's Texas.
Absolutely. And it's Texas. It's always been hot. It's always been hot with the martial arts as well. And that's what we're here talking about, folks. We're talking about martial arts. Guro and I have been around for a very long time. He's had a great school and he's had great students. And we're just talking about what's happening in the martial arts now, as it was 20, 30 years ago when we started as well, and a lot has changed. What do you think is the main thing that's going on?
The internet, man. I still blame the internet. When you and I were younger, before the internet, if you wanted to learn something, you had to find somebody teaching it, pay the money to go travel and train with them. You took notes. I have 35 years of martial arts notes in notebooks that I still have and go over. And it's just that mentality, that quick fix. Everybody wants to come in and train and get ranked. You see it with the weight loss fads. Like now that fad is everybody's getting that insulin shot to lose weight. And I'm like that. There's no shortcuts to health. There's no shortcuts in the martial arts, and it's just, and it's not everywhere, but there's a lot of schools that just charge money and they're just teaching crap. I hate to say that, but like I said, it's not everybody, but there are a lot of schools.
You're absolutely correct. The problem is now, you can say it in the internet and you can see it in Facebook. When we were growing up, there was a protocol within the arts. You didn't talk to I hate using the term masters and sifus and all that other stuff, but they exist. There's a reason why in martial arts and many styles, you have a brigade system. You're either a student, levels of teachers, and that's just the way it is. It doesn't matter what style you're in. There's that type of brigade system, and the protocols have taken base. You got people that have been training for 60 years that are out there, and great individuals that are out there training, and some guy that just decided to do martial arts because he saw the movie John Wick gets on Facebook and adds all these instructors and just, hey, how you doing? No, sir, no DM, no Sifu, no professor. There's no title, ranking, anything. Hey, how you doing? You doing good? And all of a sudden, they bypassed whoever it was. No, he's my friend now, and it's me and him. And you know what I'm saying? So it's a different type of mentality. Number one, protocol's taken off. The respect has been taken away. I see a lot of people teaching, and I hate to use Taekwondo because there's a lot of great Taekwondo out there, but let's change the term Taekwondo and just put a McDojo mentality. And for folks out there, what is a McDojo? McDojo is a martial arts school that you pay and you get ranked. You pay a belt fee and you get ranked. Yeah. Doesn't matter what you got, you're getting that rank. And there's a lot of that going on. But what happens is in those schools, there's still rank system. Some of these people that are teaching now they probably never got their yellow or orange belt in any karate or taekwondo or Korean art, and they're out there teaching people how to punch and kick and defend themselves out of some type of, you know, mental idea, that or mental fart that they all of a sudden now they know how to teach. You know, I mean, it's like, really? And you see that with their students.
Well, and there's 4 schools in and around Waco that they're karate schools, right? But they have black belt contracts. And the black belt contract is a 3-year contract. And they get you to sign up, and they just nickel and dime the parents, right? They get them sign up. Oh, you can do it for $99 a month. Great. They sign them up. They go in there. The kids play games half the class anyway. You're running around just to get them tired. Well, then they try to up some. Well, you need to become a member of our black belt club or our weapons system. And they do this. So before you know it, the parent's spending $200 to $300 a month because of the black belt club. But the black belt club, what I have a problem with is the black belt contract is a 3-year contract. At the end of 3 years, you will be a black belt. Whether you can make a fist or throw a kick, it doesn't matter. The other thing that I have issue with that I see quite a bit is I will actually see ads on Facebook from martial arts schools looking to hire instructors to teach their kids class or teach their adult class. And so they're bringing, and it's not everybody, but I see ads like that where they'll bring someone in from the outside that has a martial arts background. But the problem with that is you didn't train this person. This person didn't grow up in your system, you know, and it's like you said, the lack of respect is the other issue I see. A lot of that comes from MMA because, and I'm a huge MMA fan. I've done MMA, but it's that lack of respect. When I was coming up in the arts, when you stepped on the mat, you bowed. When you stepped off the mat, you turned and bowed. Everything was yes, sir, no, sir, yes, sifu, no, sifu. But you don't see that anymore because of I think just because, man, it could just be the world. I mean, just a lack of love that's in the world, but there's a lack of respect. And how many students do you know that jump from school to school? Well, this instructor's not giving me what I want. I'm going to go here. Because I've had that. You and I both train fighters. And I've had fighters come train with me and they get mad because you're not ready to fight yet. You have to train for a year before I'll put you in a match. You have to train for a year solid. That means every day you're here. And then they get mad, they go train somewhere else. Then they go in and get in fights, take some matches. And they just jump from school to school because they're self-serving. And it's like that whole Bushido code is lost on so many people today. And it's frustrating.
You're correct. We can go with the lack of respect. You know, the fighting world has respect in it. You know, I took a lot of fighters within Savat and within boxing, and there was respect there. You know, there's respect because you can fight. They respect you because you have fighters. They respect you, and you can build competitors. They respect you, and they won't respect you if you can't do any of that. But if you do one of those, the society or the community of boxing respects you.
Yeah.
But the community of boxing is very treacherous because if they see somebody that's good in this gym, they'll bargain him out of you to tell him, hey, you can come over here, we'll do this, what have you. And all of a sudden they'll have him there because they want to train him for pro. I've had that happen here.
Yeah.
I've always trained amateur, even though I was a pro official here in the Texas Boxing Commission. I see where you're coming from because I see that here. The last time I was training some individuals, they told me, Professor, you know, we've gone in boxing, we've gone in Savat, we've become champions in both. Would you teach us at MMA? This was probably when MMA was just starting to roll over.
Yeah.
There's going to be an MMA match here. Would you teach us here? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'll teach you. I'm going to bring you some people here that's going to teach you some grappling. And I'm also going to teach you, because I'm going to be coaching you, and I'm also going to teach you how it's done. You know the way I train. One of the guys that trained in Dallas, he couldn't post a jab, he couldn't throw a cross. And you start telling him, put your hands up. You know, when you throw a cross and your hands down here and you throw this way and you're swimming, you're going to get nailed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna get moved by somebody that doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? It's easy. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm not to insult you. I'm telling you. Listen. So he got upset and left. The other one was offered money from another karate school in town to fight for them. Okay. And he left the school. In fact, I was going to get penalized because this was a pro event. I just said they left. The fighters left. They're fighting with somebody else for me not to get penalized, because you can get penalized for that. So later on, the guy comes in and he goes, "Oh, he lost. Can you tell him that he owes me the money because he was supposed to win?" I go, "Buddy, you know what?" And the guy tells me, he has a Taekwondo school. "Oh, it's because I teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, so we're gonna get the best fighter, which was yours, to come over here with me to advertise my school." I said, "Both of you can go fly a kite."
Yeah.
That's the way it is. It's called respect. You don't do that to somebody. Well, fine.
No.
That exists. What I see now is people, and I'm glad for them. If they're opening up, if they think they can do it, please do so. Okay. I got thrown into teaching because I wanted to spread Savat, and other people were asking me. And that's how I started teaching. I was 18. What I see is people not caring what their students are doing. They could care less if they're throwing a jab or a cross or protecting themselves while they're doing it. They're not correcting them, and they're doing punches and kicks that can actually hurt them by hyperextension if they don't hit the bag or if they don't hit the pads, which is going to happen because sometimes you're going to miss. So you have to know how to retract it, or else you're going to hyperextend your leg or you're going to hyperextend your elbow. That care is not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see this multiplying faster as it can go.
Yeah. Well, and I see that. I think that issue, because I see that too. And I've had conversations with people at seminars about that. I think that comes from having instructors that have never been in the ring, never done competition, never actually had to train for competition, and just they don't have that experience of actually fighting. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a fighter to be a good instructor, but you have to have knowledge of fighting and the application of it. And, it's funny because like with Eric Paulson, I train with him a lot, and like he's changed the way that I'm taught, but he breaks it down like that. And then you will sit there and see guys that, I mean, they're going hard. They like with focus mitts. What's the purpose of a focus mitt? To work your combinations, your timing, your accuracy, all that. It's not power, but I've seen him get on people because they're going full power on the focus mitts, and every now and then the guy's holding it, and you move the pad so the guy misses, and he's like, because he tweaked his elbow, or he just, I think most of that is just, you can't underestimate the importance of having that experience of being in the ring, of training hard and going hard, or having the knowledge of it. And like you say, I think so many people today that teach, they don't have that experience. They think the technique is going to work because whoever they learned it from told them it will work, it's crazy. I mean, I see that same thing though. And it's very frustrating when you see people like that. Like the thing that drives me crazy, seeing guys that are supposed to be fighters, and they throw a jab and they drop it and they bring it back and they're leaving this open. Mr. Keller, Sifu Keller used to always say, it comes, whatever line it goes out on, it comes back. And you see guys do a right hand. Yeah. And you see guys throw that right cross or straight right, and they're leaning over their knee and they're dropping it. And they wonder, well, man, every time I throw that, I don't like throwing that punch. Well, every time I do, I get hit because you don't know how to throw it,
And you're absolutely correct. It's I see it in boxing. I see the lack of respect, the lack of rules. In USA boxing, and as well as USA Savate, you have to be 8 years old to start.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that doesn't mean my father or my uncle or whatever can get me in the backyard, hit the heavy bag when I'm 3 years old and 4 years old and 5 years old, 6, 7. But I can't be in a gym of USA boxing until I'm 8 years old.
Yeah.
Class. Here, there's a local school. bunch of kids, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. One of them got hurt just recently.
Yeah.
One of them got hurt. They're going all over the place. But guess what? Because their insurance didn't cover. And guess what? USA Boxing turned around and said, sorry, you're no longer a member of the school, of the association because of what you did. They had a 5-year-old go up against, I think, a 10-year-old, and the 10-year-old just wailed on him. That type of stupidity, I'm going to call it that.
Yeah.
Experience. And you have to, and people do not understand that. They think they can nonchalantly do whatever they want. No, it's safety. I don't want somebody to get hit in the ring. I don't want somebody to get hurt. I don't want somebody to get hurt in the street. So I'm going to teach them as much as I'm knowledgeable about, for them not to endure getting hurt either in the ring or in the street. Right?
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with my camera right now.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. And, you know, we used to have a thing when you're sparring, hard to the body, soft to the head. And it just disappeared.
Okay. There you go.
There you go. Sorry about that. I mean, when we were sparring, even guys getting ready for the fight, I would always preach to them, hard to the body, light to the head. Well, I'm going to get hard in the ring. Yeah, but I don't want you getting hit in the head hard in here. You're going to get a concussion before you get in the ring. That's not good. And then I've had so many guys go, well, I'll just wear I'll put headgear on. Headgear doesn't keep you from taking hard hits. It's so when you get knocked out and you fall, you don't crack your skull on the floor. That's what that is. You still get concussions. You know, it's crazy.
You know, I hear people talk about Salat, and they'll say, well, you're not teaching them how to fight correctly, because every time you throw a punch with a glove in the street, they're going to miss them by 2 inches. I'm like, I mean, guy, please wake up, quit fantasizing, get out of, quit watching Pornhub, and do something else with your life, because that shit ain't going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean, these guys are. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous with what you're seeing. This is what I tell folks. Are you content? You're training whatever art you are, whatever it is. You know, Mongolian yak flinging, whatever it is. If you're content and you think you're capable of taking care of somebody in the street, beautiful.
Yeah.
You're questioning it, then you should find somewhere else. You know, there was, before people got tested, they got tested in the school. You know, they got tested. And if you opened up the school, somebody usually came in to try to test you to see if you're around.
Yeah.
Before you used to have, you probably got the latter part of it, and they were dojo busting. You know, they used to send somebody, a crew from this black belt school over here to sign up to see if you were, and something usually happened.
Yeah.
And sometimes all of a sudden the school
we
closed.
had that.
You know, or all of a sudden those guys left, or some of them became students. You know, that it occurred.
Yeah.
That used to happen in Dallas.
Yeah. That happened in Fort Worth to us at Mr. Keller's school. We'd have a guy from the local karate school down the street come in. He wants to spar. He comes in wearing his gi pants, a tank top or a wife beater with his belt. You want to spar? Mr. Keller would always be like, well, no, we don't do that. We not outside sparring. You have to train. Well, no, I just want to spar. And then Seafood would look around, point to me or Tracy. All right, if you can make it past them, then we'll, you can spar me. And nobody ever made it past us. Not that we were badass, but most people that come into schools like that challenge you, they don't know what they're doing, or they wouldn't do that.
You know what I'm saying? We had that in Dallas. We had it several times. That's when we started using waivers. You know, we had an attorney that used to be with us, and we had some guy that came in from this Taekwondo school and walked in and started cussing at everybody and wanted to fight. And he had his whole school watching him on the outside. You know, they were all standing in that was a big school. I don't know if you ever go. We had two big old garage doors.
Yeah.
We had one of our young guys knock him straight out. The guy hit the concrete as hard as he could. You know, the guy was out, and And the attorney goes, "Do you have a waiver?" No, he drafted one up real quick. Here, sign this. And the guy was like, "Ugh." And now we have to have waivers. I mean, unfortunately, that's just the way it was. You know, they took him back to his school.
Yeah,
but
you know, it's funny. We're doing doing Thai boxing class with Sifu Keller in Fort Worth at a school, and there was a guy up there, and he was one of our students, but he trained with us. He just wasn't right in the head. He was going way too hard on this kid that was a lot less experienced and just wailing on him. And I remember Sifu getting up there, and he got mad. I've never seen Sifu mad until then. Went and put the gloves on, and he got up there and started sparring. He landed a side kick on that guy that knocked the shadow off of him. I mean, the dude went through a wall. He put his ass through a wall, and he was like, literally a hole was in the wall. And then he's like, time. And of course, me and Tracy in there were like, oh, Sifu got mad. He can bang, you know, but it's funny because you have to do that sometimes. I had a guy come to my class one time here in Waco, said he wanted to spar. He's like 50 years old at the time, wanted to spar with us. I was like, well, you got to train. This joker goes over there. He's like, all right, I'll go get ready. He takes his shirt off, takes his pants off, and he has a pair of yellow spandex on, shorts with no shirt. And I remember we turned around and looked, and I'm like, but you got to put some clothes on. Well, this is what I train at. Not here, you don't. Put some clothes on. And we're sitting there. And I'm doing. I mean, it's crazy, you know. And we had that where he's in there, and I'm showing some moves, and he's like, "You can show them on me." And everything I did, he tried to fight, you know. And I had to get rough with him. And finally, had him spar one of my guys, and my guy like threw him around like a rag doll, and then he never came back to class. But you have those people like that out there, and you have to know how to handle them, you know.
And now I'm more like, you know, but you have them every so often. You have But it's funny because we all did apprenticeships through it. We all studied for tests. So we all took tests. We all did that to achieve where we're at. You and I both, you know, and today, as you were mentioning earlier, they pay $4.99, and all of a sudden now they have a certificate on the wall and 10 DVDs, you know? And all of a sudden you're like, when did you do that? You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of arts. Yeah. It got here from Amazon, and I go, really? You know? But it's sad because that happens, and people think because they have that or don't have that, they can teach.
Yeah.
You know, back when I started, either your father or your uncle will take you to the guy that was the baddest guy in town to learn how to fight. That's the way it was.
Yeah.
My dad took me to my uncle at that time frame, okay, to learn how to fight. And I had that mentality. You're going to go train with people that are badasses. I had that mentality. I'm not going to go train with somebody that I can knock the shit out of or that looks like Urkel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that somebody that looks like Urkel can't fight. I'm just saying that you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I got you.
And when I went, I was very lucky to train with the people that I trained with. I've had some great instructors. I've had some instructors that shouldn't be teaching, but I've had some instructors that have influenced me throughout.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up in France. You went with the people that knew it. Yeah, there's a lot of savant, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's the way I looked at it. And you want to be with the best. You want to learn from others that have been around, and you can absorb something that they can influence. Maybe they tell you something a little bit different that might spark your idea that you had 10 years ago and say, you know what, that won't work.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just the way life is. But it just depends on people. People don't want to do that. Nowadays, as it progressed, getting back to where I was at, as it progressed in the 90s, in the early 90s, you still had fathers bringing in their kids. I remember that in Irving. Father would call, what time are open? Okay, we're open from here. Here's my son. Would you teach him how to fight? When are the classes? How much is it? The fathers were doing this.
Yeah.
Somewhere around 98, 99, when I was moving back, you started seeing more mothers bring in their kids. Well, my husband said for me to bring them in. My husband said for me to bring them in here. You started seeing that trend. In Laredo, when I moved down here, we always catered to the guys that wanted to learn how to defend themselves and fight. Okay. We've always had that group of individuals.
Yeah.
We've never been great with kids or have multiple 2,000 kids or what have you. It's always been that group, the those that really wanted to learn. And somewhere here, when I opened the doors for kids, it was no longer the father. It was now the mother bringing them in. Okay. Yeah. And now in the last 3 years, 4 years, 3 years, like from COVID this way, people don't even bring them in. They just call up and the moms call up and say, how much is it? It's on so, oh, because the other school is, so they're just price checking.
Yeah.
And they're price checking, what I've noticed, who's closest to a supermarket or who's closest to the nail salon or who's closest to the mall or what have you. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Because for an hour, hour and a half that you're teaching, that mom's going to have to go do something for that hour. Either she's going to go get her nails done, haircut, or go look for an outfit or go grocery shopping. You know, understand what I'm saying? That's basically what you're going to do. So you've become a babysitting service.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what all those schools have done. Bless you. That's what all those schools have done to have. I mean, there's schools down here of 300 kids, and they have 8 vans to go pick them up at the school, and that's all they're. And then they charge like $100 and something per week to pick up your kid from school and everything. And hey, if you can afford that, that's great. But your kid's not learning anything. I'm just being honest with you. They're not learning anything. I had kids that come up there. I had to teach them how to do a jumping jack. How do you teach somebody to do a jumping jack? You know, it's like y'all didn't do this. I mean, man, in school, I mean, I remember going to elementary school and PE classes. We're having to do calisthenics and stuff, and they don't even do that in schools anymore. It's just it's crazy. It's like the whole, I don't know, as a country, everything's gotten weaker. The mindset, everybody wants that quick fix. They want it today, and it's just, I don't know. It's frustrating. It makes me miss the old days when everybody got in there to train hard. They respected each other, and you know.
You're correct. You're correct. You know, here's this. I did a study when COVID and everything started. How many schools were in Laredo that taught martial arts? And when we did that research, I said, I don't care whether it's a weightlifting gym, recreation center, the college. I want you to find out how many schools or how many places are teaching martial arts, whether it's a rec center or not. Then I want to find out the price value. This is pre-COVID, okay? Pre-COVID. They went back to December of 2019. There were 83 different places in Laredo, which is 250,000 people, 260,000 people, that had martial arts. That's 83 places. Then you saw the martial arts schools there. Most of those martial arts schools there that were there, probably about 5 have been around since the 80s. 3 have been around. 3 have been around from the 80s. And then there were 2 that have been around since the 90s. And then a lot of them just popped up from 2010 this way. There was a lot of them being taught at the rec centers, several different programs in the rec centers, okay? And every weightlifting school had a kickboxing school in it. Every Zumba class had a kickboxing school in it. The yoga clubs had a kickboxing school in it. And I also included the boxing clubs, okay? The oldest of the boxing clubs right now that's up and running is the Laredo Amateur Boxing Club, which goes back to mid-90s. Probably about 93 this forward, okay?
Yeah.
So that's the oldest. Then you have the Webb County PAL. Then you have the other ones that have popped up. So then we did this right after COVID in 21. How many schools were martial arts schools were alive and kicking? 12 were teaching. Everything else was closed. Now you opened up and there's 43. So, and this is a study that did probably about 2 months ago. Again, the rec centers are up and running. The weightlifting gyms are up and running. So they also have their kickboxing places. But martial arts schools here are very few, but there's a lot more boxing and kickboxing schools. And that has been opened up. You know, boxing, it's a beautiful sport, but anybody can be a boxing coach. All you have to do is take your 8-hour seminar or 6-hour seminar with USA Boxing called when we're going to have it. You pay your dues and you can start teaching. Whether you know boxing or not, you can start teaching. You can look at a lot of YouTube videos and you're going to learn. That's basically how they learn. And that's right, what you said, that the internet, because before nobody knew what Savate was. You know, we were teaching people that were in the martial arts like you all knew that it existed, but that really knew where it was, it really wasn't around. Now you can pick up YouTube and you can look at some of the French fights. You can look at what we're doing and figure out what we're doing, right? And martial arts that are very rare, you just look in YouTube and you can find something about it, and people will mimic it and go out and teach it. That's basically what's going on. But I think the damper, Guru, is these certificate mills.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people are coming out there, because what happens with the BS that you're teaching is not protecting your client.
Yeah.
Do you honestly think that your client is able to do that? And not only able to do that, is that going to work? You see, a lot of people do not understand that if you go, some of the baddest motherfuckers that are around are in prison.
Yeah.
And some of those guys are getting out every day. And in prison, they know how to fight, they train how to fight, and they train. Yeah. Some of the biggest guys that I've ever seen have come out of the penitentiary.
Yeah.
I mean, and these guys are solid. They're conditioned, they're solid. They'll make those guys in CrossFit look like Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street. You know, these guys are solid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what they put in the food there, and how they grow, or what they're doing, how they're repping it, or what they're doing. But some of these guys, and not only, you know, people used to look at bodybuilders. They say, oh, they're muscle bound. These guys aren't muscle bound. They can move like an NFL guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think people's reality doesn't mesh anymore. There's reality here, and they're flying.
There's too many snowflakes. I mean, not to be political, but there's too many everybody gets offended at everything, you know, and it's like and then if they get offended, they want to silence whatever it is. And what's going to happen is and I know it's happened before, but you're going to have some of those people that are easily offended run into people like me or you or somebody else that just don't give a shit. If you're offended, that's on you. But you need to learn to deal with it, because the world's a cruel place. And, you know, and there's some cruel people in here that could give two rips about your opinion. But speaking about the certificate mills, you have so many of these martial arts, I don't know, systems or association now that do long distance training, where you pay your money, they send you an email with all their curriculum, and you do it, and then you videotape yourself doing it, email it back to them, and then, oh yeah, great, and they give you a certificate. Now you're an instructor. And then those people who learned off of video are going out trying to teach people in person. And you know, it's like, I remember when I first started doing Filipino martial arts with CP Keller. He had the first month, He gave me the sticks, and in class, he'd have me go stand off to the side and have me do heaven 6. All just the whole class, heaven 6, or do all these different flows. He came over there. You think you got it? Yeah, I've got it. I've got it down. Good. Do it with me. And the first time I hit his stick, it messed everything up because I've been used to hitting the air with no resistance. And the first time I made contact with the stick, it threw me off. It took me a while to get that. And that's what you see with these other people. They do all these techniques. And it's like, well, that guy, it worked for that guy on the video, so they don't have that combat application of what they're doing in order to pass that on to other people. That's what I like about Eric Paulson's shirts. His shirts say combat tested, battle ready. And it's like, that's the difference.
It's a good saying. It's a good saying.
Yeah. It's like, that's the difference out there.
Some guy came up and he says, I'm moving to Houston. I'm going to start looking for a martial arts school. I said, okay, good. There's a couple of people over there. I send them over there to Larry, Grandmaster Boone over there. And I said, try his school. That's a good school you can go to. Talk to him. Maybe he can teach you some of the lateral. Maybe he can teach you stuff like that. There's some other places. He goes, I might be in this side or whatever. What should I ask them for? Honestly, ask them when was the last time they got in a fight.
Yeah.
Ask them when was the last time you literally beat the shit out of somebody outside or they beat the shit out of you. When was it? Was it in the ring or was it over there? And if they turn around, they say that you need some kind of spiritual guidance, leave the school and go somewhere else. Okay?
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying? Because there's a difference between destiny and fate.
Yeah.
And you will never know what's going to happen to you if you go in some of these places and there's just somebody there that looks at you as prey.
Yeah.
You have to understand that, like you said, the world is cruel. Is your thing ready for that? Is it? No, really, is it?
Yeah.
People used to condition their hands over and over and over and over. I remember my Sifu Keith C used to have big old callus, big old knuckles, and one trained for that. We trained in Kempo for a long time. If you hit somebody with some of these techniques at speed and you're hitting with your hand in somebody's cranium,
yeah.
And if your hands aren't conditioned, well, guess what's going to happen to your hand?
Yeah.
It's like Humpty Dumpty. You lost the fight. It's going to go crack, and you're going to go like this, and all of a sudden, bloop. Reality matters. And if you start playing in dreamland and you forget about reality, reality is going to bite you. I think BJJ is a beautiful art. I think collegiate wrestling is beautiful. I think the grappling arts are essential. But don't tell me that you're going to take somebody to the ground in the street to survive. Because I can tell you video upon video, and I can show you video, not only of here in the United States, but around the world of what happens to you if you fall in the ground.
Yeah.
If you don't go to the morgue, you're going to be in the hospital. Yeah. And God bless you that you come out unscathed and just with something broken. But what happens if they leave you crippled because they broke your spine, they broke your neck, you're in a wheelchair because you went down to the ground? People do not know that. Oh, the lawyers are going, no, lawyer, you're screwed. Nobody cares.
Yeah, you're paralyzed. Well, and people seem to discount the fact that it's very rare that somebody you get in a fight with on the street is by themselves. You take somebody, if you go to the ground, you're getting kicked in the face somewhere. I mean, something's going to happen. I've seen it too many times. Like you said, I love BJJ. I have a brown belt in BJJ, but I wouldn't use it for the street. I have to modify it. And years ago, I wrote an article called "Are you grappling? Is your grappling for the ring or for reality?" And talking about the different positions, you don't want to be on the street, on the pavement, on asphalt with somebody in your guard, because maybe they can't do anything because you've got them wrapped up in the guard. but their buddies can, and it's just going in and modifying a lot of the techniques to where if it's on the street, you're always looking around, your head's on a swivel, checking your six and all that stuff. And people don't understand, when you're in a ring, competition's different. You can be a badass, but if you get in deep water, there's a ref to stop the fight and break it up for you. On the street, you can't do that. On the street, you gotta run and gun. I mean, you need to cause as much damage as possible in the shortest amount of time and then get the hell out of there. Period.
I'm glad that you said that, the shortest amount of time. The FBI stats on how fast fights occur is 8 seconds.
Yeah.
If you go beyond 20 seconds, people are going to fall to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to fall to the ground because of wrestling. They're going to fall to the ground because either they tripped over something, or they tangled themselves up, they were pushed to the ground, or they tripped over their feet, or something tripped them to the ground. Now, when they fall to the ground, some danger occurs.
Yeah.
And you have from the 40 seconds to about 2 minutes that people are going to kick the person that's in the ground. And it's, I call it a frenzy. The guy that's filling gas sees it, and he's going to run across and he's going to kick the person that's in the ground.
Yeah.
It occurs. It occurs in nightclubs over and over and over. So you have to be quick, you have to be decisive, and you have to have no heart. And what I mean by no heart is, are you really willing to cross that line? Most people aren't. And on another note is, folks out there, hopefully don't get us wrong. We're talking about martial arts and the reasonings and reality. I don't want anybody to go out there and be fighting. I don't want anybody to get hurt fighting. I do not condone fighting. I don't condone people picking on others and stuff like that. That's not what this is for. This is a discussion for educational purposes, because that's the way you learn. Okay. And I also do not condone being a coward. So either or is not condoned. I don't condone a person going out to picking a fight. And believe me, I have young guys that come in here and they ask so many questions about it. I tell them this: if you have $30,000 with you that you can throw away, start going and drinking liquid courage and get as many fights as you want. Because what's going to happen with those $30,000, you're going to pay the bail bondsman and the lawyer, because you're not going to beat the ride. But we're talking about what happens if you're in the grocery, you're with your wife, with your girlfriend, with your kids, and something occurs and you have to take care of business. The first thing you want is protect them.
Yeah.
Number one. And there's a lot of things in self-defense that can be taught as an awareness, that you don't have to do martial arts. It's just an awareness principles.
Yeah.
But, martial arts is a total different entity. Martial arts, if people want to learn how to do martial arts, they're either doing it for the love of the art, they love the culture that they become in, that subculture, and they want to learn more, and that's how it starts, And that's basically the way it is. Some people stay in Jeet Kune Do like you have. Some people stay in Savate like I have. Some others do Kempo. Some people do Capoeira. Some people do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. All those are beautiful for what they are. Train them, continue training them, because they're martial arts that are for life, okay? But once it starts for reality, that's what we're encompassing. We're not saying this is better than others. I'm just saying these are the mistakes people make. So for you guys out there that just come in, but and you're correct. There's a lot of points now that weren't around 20, 30 years ago that have just changed. That have, I don't know, would you say have damaged the martial arts? What would you say?
I would say damage the martial arts. I maybe. I'd say the reputation of the martial arts, or I guess, I would say damage the arts in some way, But speaking like what you just talked about with awareness, I used to always try to talk to my guys about, you've heard of OODA loop, which is observe, orient, decide, and act. And you always have to have that mindset. And that's what I would try to teach people is you're always looking and observing of what's going on. Well, what do you mean? Well, look, it's 110 degrees outside. Why is this guy wearing a hoodie with his hands in his pocket? Why, so you see stuff like that, recognize it and just kind of observe them, orient yourself to where he's at and what's going on. And then you have to have that decision already made before something happens so you can act on it, and it's like you said, are you prepared to cross that line? And when it comes to self-defense on the street, you have to be willing to go to prison for the actions that you take if it means defending your life or the life of others around you. And I think so many people nowadays, they just want to grab their phone and go, and they just want to video it and post it on Facebook instead of getting in there and doing it. And I saw a video yesterday, which was funny. There's a 76-year-old lady in a Walmart, and this guy ran up and stole her purse from her and was running out the store. It's on security camera. And this black guy comes running out faster than ever. He just tackled the guy in the parking lot, started beating him up, took the purse back. The end of the video was that local county sheriff's department giving the black guy a citation for heroism. Because he's like, because the black guy beat up the robber and then sat there with him with his hands behind his back until the cops got there to put handcuffs on him. So they gave him an award, an accommodation for standing up and doing what we should all do instead of videotaping. But now, it's the environment of everybody's just, let me just video this and put it on Facebook. And I hate to say this, I've got a buddy here, he's a mail carrier. And I probably shouldn't say that, but I'm on the phone with him and I go, man, what was that at? It sounded like gunshots. He goes, I think it was. He walked out, there's a dude laying dead in the street. The guy got shot right in front of the constable's office, just down the street from where my buddy was. And there were people taking pictures of the dude laying in the street. He just got killed.
I saw this guy, it was, he's taking selfies and he's telling people that some guy had just gotten stabbed to death on the street. Look at it, it's happening right now. What kind of reality we live in? What kind of dark, idiotic sense are we in? I tell folks this as well. I tell students, I tell everybody this. Don't be a hero. You see somebody being a bar fight. Before we did security at bars, we did this and we worked in there. We did the whole thing of trying to be a tough guy. And enough of that. Understand?
Yeah.
You're a bouncer. You're a doorman. Push them out the door and let them take care of themselves. Close the door behind you.
Yeah.
Don't let them
call the cops.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't go out there as a bouncer, as a doorman, as security, and try to entangle these guys in the street. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And also, if you see one guy getting beat up and you go in there trying to be a hero, all of a sudden the guy can all of a sudden turn around and put a couple of bullet holes in you because he's being attacked.
Yeah.
And you being the hero. And all of a sudden now you're dead and people are saying, well, he was a hero. But no, I'm sorry. There's a time and place you put it inside.
Yeah.
You go inside and you place your life on the line. If it was some kid that was trying to get kidnapped, for sure, in a heartbeat, that would not even be a question. A lady being drugged into a car or beaten up, that's a different story. And even then, when women are getting popped around in the face in parking lots, we all did this. We all got involved. Don't turn around and say, he hit my boyfriend.
Yeah.
I've
had that happen. Yeah, I've had that happen to me. I saw a guy beating the crap out of his girlfriend. I go over there to break it up and push that guy off, and I'm holding him, and the girl came over and started hitting me because I was fighting the guy that was just beating the shit out of her, and she's attacking me now. It's that's the last time.
Yeah, that happened to me in Kroger's and in Beltline in Irving. I had a long conversation with an Irving police officer, and the Irving police officer said, don't get involved. You should let her kick his ass. Get him, kick her ass. The guy was beating her up. I went inside, took him. Anyway, to make a long story short, She started, started hitting me. I had scratch marks on my back. You know, like what the hell? He goes, man, if she would have stuck you with a knife because you're holding down her boyfriend.
Yeah.
The guy
Yeah.
goes,
See, and you don't think about that.
you're ass kicked. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and it's funny.
It's sad, but you know, that's what happens. And there's women that we deserve to help and protect, but then there's women that act like this, and you're like, it's you know what I'm saying? You have to, I think you have to look at the situation, what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, situation. But you know, be careful when you guys are out there, and especially training, because there's a lot of. Remember, the world is cruel. You might help somebody, you might hit somebody, and you hit them the wrong way. All of a sudden, you're the one getting lawsuit. And believe me, there's a lot of little pencil neck prosecutors that are going to try to prove that you were the one doing something wrong because you do martial arts, and they're going to throw the book at you and not the guy that was beating up his girlfriend. So, unfortunately, that's what happens.
No, it is. It is. You know, I had a situation. It was my brother and I. My brother was there were two guys, and of course I go up there, and this one guy's in a truck running his mouth, and I see him reaching under the seat. Well, as soon as I see him reach under the seat, I open the door and shove him across the seat, and he had a roofing hammer with the axe on the, the blade on the end, and he swung it. I grabbed him. He tried to kick me. I grabbed his foot, drug him out of the truck, had him in an ankle lock, broke his ankle, and stepping on his other leg. I went straight to the police department, filed a report, told them what happened, and I got a physical assault charge with bodily damage. I went to court and they actually dropped it because they saw on their surveillance video he actually had a hammer that he swung at me. But I went to the cops after it was done. I mean, immediately told them what was happening, told them where it was, wrote out a 2-page report, put my martial arts background in there, and said, look, I could have done worse. I was defending myself. I saw him reaching. I thought he was going for a gun. I still got a physical assault charge, but 3 months later at court, they actually dropped it. But I still had to go through the expense, the time off work, and the headache of going through it. And it's like, there are a lot of people out there that would do that.
No, and believe me, there's a lot of people that will do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And especially on Facebook, if you're talking in there, you get people out there that will come in there and, Badfoot Billy Bob is, on 1845 is putting out there and sending you messages or putting everywhere that you follow, just trolling around. Is going to kick your ass here, kick your ass there. And the instant you say, let's do it, all of a sudden you have an assault and threats and terroristic threats on you. Folks, who cares what Billy Bob 1842 is saying about you? The hell with them. People need to understand that be and hang around like-minded individuals. That's the way I look at it. You hang around with martial artists that think in your same level.
Yeah.
Why? Because those are the ones that are going to help each other out in the future. Those are the ones that are going to back each other up in the future. Those are the ones that we can learn off from each other. That's what it's all about. Because if you start, there's a lot of people out there that have been misled. Some of them, the longer they go and they're continuing and they love teaching the martial arts and they understood they were misled, some's going to click into them. They're going to realize that and they're going to search people that really do. So that occurs as well.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
But all in all, it's martial arts. I don't want to discourage anybody from doing it. That's not what we're here for. We're just here talking about the differences of what's happened with the arts.
Yeah,
but there's still good schools out there that you have to search.
Yeah.
And realize what you want. If you're going to pay, because this guy down the street 4 miles away is $100, and this one over here is $150, but the one in $50 has more experience in this. Look at the experience. Look at what's going on. Tell them to take a free class. Hell, I've given people a free month. You want to come in here and train? I could care less.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they stay. Why? Because they trust that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. You know, look at it when you're trying to find a martial arts school, look at it like you're doing a financial investment for your retirement and do your due diligence because you're making an investment in your livelihood as far as being able to defend yourself if something happens. But you know, it's just like anything. You have to find a school that's going to fit your personality, that you're going to fit into, where you can tell, you get the vibe that he's a good instructor, he has experience, you know, he has time in the arts, and more importantly, he's a good teacher. He's able to communicate what he's trying to get you to, you know, to learn or to teach. And just do your due diligence. There's a lot of really good schools out there, and it doesn't take long to find the bad ones, you know. And I always tell people, don't ever like I never had anybody sign a contract with me until after the first month. I'm like, look, give it a month. If you feel like this is the place you belong, great. We'll get you signed up and you can, you know, you're part of the family. And I would tell people, don't ever sign a contract. Always go in and say, hey, can I pay for a month to try it out for a month and go from there? Because in that month, you're going to see what kind of person, what kind of people they have training there and what kind of person the instructor is.
Absolutely. And for parents that are looking for that, look not at the instructor, look at the highest ranked kids that are running around.
Yeah.
Look at how they're behaving because that's how your kid is going to end up behaving, just like
Yeah.
those kids are behaving. So look at it, make sure how it is. You know, and it's sad. I had this father brought it. He brought his two sons in. One was 10 and the other one was 8. 5 years into one of them was had it for 5 years and the other one had been doing it for 7 years. A 10-year-old had been doing it for 7 years, I believe. They started when they were like 3 at this martial art place down the street. You know, and I told them, okay, let's make a fist.
Um, yeah.
I go, is that how you all make a fist? Yeah, like this, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how long did you do it? He goes, 7 years. I'm like, and they taught you how to do this? You know, I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, you know, so let's start making a fist, you know, let's start putting it together. Let's start kicking. They were doing wonderful, wonderful. They were enjoying it, so on and so forth. All of a sudden, the father comes in. He goes, "Oh, the karate instructor over there told me that if I bring him back, he gives him a black belt."
Yeah.
The guy can't fight, man. You know, they're going to go up against kids that don't care. They've been doing boxing left and right. They're going to pop you around. See,
Yeah.
that's what I think. In martial arts, you're going to learn respect. You should.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to learn a discipline and discipline within it, right? But, and you should learn how to fight. If the fight is taken out of the equation, these two things you should be able to teach them at home,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But what happens
Absolutely.
if these two things they don't have, this they don't have either, and the kid that's going to the boxing ring, he has discipline to be there at 3 o'clock every day. He gets picked on and going to school. He'll throw down anytime he wants. He meets your black belt.
Yeah.
No brainer. You know, that's what happens in why so many kids at that age group in boxing overwhelm the black belts because of that. Then the black belts turn around. We've always had that question. Then later on in time, in the 20s, the boxers kind of do this and the black belts kind of start getting better. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of changes. But other than that, what you want is you want a school that's going to be able to teach them everything with respect of what reality is. I think that's the only basis that I have.
Yeah.
Do your
Yeah.
diligence, study them.
Yeah. No, and that's true. I mean, if you don't have fighting, the other two things you can teach them at home. You don't have to send them to school, you know. But you've got to have all three if you're going to a good martial arts school, a good reputable martial arts school. You're going to have all three, you know. But yeah. I agree. I agree with all that.
Other than that, it's a great conversation. I want to thank you for for it, and hopefully you guys out there, if you think this is a good conversation, press like, press share, and let's keep it going. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon up there, and maybe we can continue doing some good work.
Yeah.
And
I need to come back and get some of them tacos I had whenever I was down there last time.
anytime. The doors are open. It's just across the street.
Yeah.
Right now I'm looking for a new space because I actually want to teach people for the ring again. It kind of got that bug back into me. Let's teach what it should, and the reason I quit was because of all the BS and that was running around it. So I said to myself, this time around, let's just start teaching people that really want to learn it.
Yeah. It's hard to get rid of that bug, man. I get that bug sometimes too. And yeah. But I think you're in a good position because if you have guys that you've been training that really want to learn, well, now you have martial artists that are wanting to be trained as fighters instead of having a fighter come into a martial arts class. You know what I mean? I think that's always the better deal. Have somebody that starts off as a student to become a martial artist, have them graduate up, take that step to be a fighter. I always think it's better than having guys that just want to fight trying to come to a martial arts class, because those guys usually jump ship pretty early. But yeah.
Not only that, they don't. This is what I get from folks. They come into class, they train somewhere else, they come into class, and they want to continue training like somewhere else.
Yeah.
That school's not here, but they'll tell you, oh, this is the way I was taught, and this is the way I'm going to do it here. No, buddy. You know what I'm saying? So you can learn that, use it, but it's a total different entity. Here we don't come here at 4 o'clock and just start hitting the bags and doing whatever the hell we want. Yeah. Here you have a scheduled class and you can start learning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the differences. And people need to understand that a lot of these schools out there, and there's a fad right now going, a lot of the schools that are out there, you pay a monthly fee for you just to go there and kick the bags and spar and roll and do whatever you want anytime you want. But if you really want classes, you have to pay another $100 for the instructor to pay attention to you. So it comes out the same or more.
Yeah.
But instead of learning how to fight and then them teaching you, know what I'm saying? So you just fart around whatever you want to do, and all of a sudden, if they really like you, they might teach you. But if you pay the extra $150, they'll teach you one class a week, and you're like, I don't get it. I don't see them.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I mean, I was a guy when I was coming up. I was at class every time the doors were open, and I would stay late after the class is over. Mr. Keller would leave. Hey, just lock the doors when y'all leave, because we'd stay up there another 30, 40 minutes or an hour, just continuing the training. That's what I don't see now.
Now it's like we have a demonstration. You have to call people and remind them to go, and you have to kind of beg them to be there.
Yeah.
And they'll come up with 1,000 excuses. I remember growing up and they said, oh, we're going to have a demonstration on December 5th. They never mentioned it again. I guarantee you that everybody on December 5th was there for the demonstration. You know what I'm saying? You're there to help out the school. Here you can send emails and texts and remind and over and over and over. And, oh, well, the Easter Bunny is coming next year, so we have to get ready for Easter. Easter passed 2 months ago. Nope, I'm waiting for the one next year. Stupid excuses. And you're like, really? Really?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like,
or it's too hot.
It's too hot.
Too hot outside. Yeah. I used to get that.
Well, hopefully we'll see you soon. We'll get together.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
We're gonna have the 16th annual World Pugilist Hall of Fame again.
In
It's the first week in November. We have some great individuals coming in. We have Guro Dev Singh from India, teaching the Indian martial art, the Sikh martial art. We're gonna have Sifu Fanning from Ireland coming in. We have Sifu Fanning's going to be teaching some kind of Iron Palm Kung Fu that his father brought into Ireland way back when. Really interesting individual. I don't know if you've seen some of the shows, but he's all into breaking, and he's done a lot. Last year he broke 12 world records, one a month.
Wow.
So you can see him. He's a great individual. Mestre Muraya, who has taken capoeira into the MMA circuit and won several titles already in South America and also in Europe. And a lot of people don't know this, but in Brazil, MMA has always gone head to head and beat the Brazilian jiu-jitsu people left and right. So that's happened. It happens all the time, but here people are like, oh no. So he's going to show that portion of it. We have some other people as well coming in, and we have some other people that are being inducted as well. Which, but people should come down, and hopefully you guys can come down as well.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find a travel buddy to come down there with me.
Yeah, bring them down.
Yeah,
and I know that.
Yeah, it's crazy because you jump on that toll road, and it's like the speed limit's 85, and people are still passing you. I was like, I can't go that fast in my truck for that long of a time, man. But yeah, I need to get a travel buddy to go down there with me.
Yeah.
Hopefully, have the hotels cleaned up as far as like.
Yeah, actually, we're looking at. There's a couple of Airbnbs that are actually pretty good that I'll send the post and for people to look, and they're not. They're actually cheaper than the hotels. Okay. But the hotels here, start looking them up for the problem. It's an issue. Yeah.
Well, I know when my son and I came down there. There was one room. We got the last room, I think, of any of the hotels down there. They were all full because they had, that's crazy.
What happened? All the people that are coming across the border, the refugees are staying in all of them. You had National Guard in all of them. You have DPS and all of them, but you had the Texas Guard, and people that come in from out of town. There's like 2-3 rooms, and
no place to stay.
No place to stay, but Airbnbs are good.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, if you'll send that list out whenever you start emailing for that,
we'll put it out there. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, I'll look forward to it. I'll see if I can make that happen to come down there, especially for some of that food again. That food was good.
Yeah. Until next time. Much peace.
All right,
brother.
Professor. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Be safe.
Bye.
Have you ever wondered about what happens in a martial arts studio? Well, you start right away by setting goals, building determination, gaining focus, building skills, all while becoming more fit, gaining confidence, and learning self-defense. Withorn Academy is a school where attitude meets aptitude. So give us a call at 956-401-4868.